Hello and welcome to the ACSN podcast. That's the African and Caribbean Students Network podcast. You're here with myself, Adebola Adeleye.
I'm Patrick Bolinga.
And we have a fantastic guest.
Hi, my name is Erin Opata.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining us. It just shows your dedication and your appreciation for the African and Caribbean Society to share your journey, share your time that you had with the African and Caribbean Society where you were. So what we'll do, shall we do some quick introductions?
I'm Patrick Bolinga, as I said on the intro, originally from Cameroon, and I spent some time in Egypt, living there, and became president of Brooks ACS a couple of years ago. Then after that, spoke to some of the founding trustees, and we decided to create the ACSN. So that's a little bit of my story and a little bit of my intro.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Adebola Adeleye. I was the University of Essex ACS President. I'm Nigerian by way of Essex, born and bred. So I started an organization called the National African and Caribbean Student Society. We ran that for a few years. And then now we've merged with ACSN to create, this super organization, and I'm sure you'll see do great things in the future. Over to you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Erin Opata. I was the University of Essex ACS President, I believe, 2 years ago. just over 2 years ago. I studied law and politics for my undergraduate, and I'm actually finishing tomorrow in my master's degree.
Wow!
In international law by
Congratulations!
So, yeah,
Good luck.
That's a bit about me.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Essex, the square. Did they still have Sub-Zero there?
Yeah.
Urban Groove? No. There was a club called Urban Groove. That was like the black spot on campus and everything like that. But yeah, what I'd like to do is just understand about your journey. Mm-hmm. Like, let's break it up. So, why did you decide? Why did you want to become an ACS president?
Mm-hmm. So me personally, I think it all stems back from when I was younger. So I've always been in leadership position since young. I'm telling you, primary school, secondary school, sixth form. So it started off maybe as like captain of sports, and then like maybe student council, then it was advisory captain, then it was peer mentor, then it was head girl in year 11, then sixth form I was a prefect. Then I came to university and I was like, okay, I know I'm probably going to be in some sort of leadership. And I believe I was in first year, and some months went by, and everyone was like, oh, like, we're not really feeling our ACS, and I don't mean it in a negative tone, but it was more like we don't really know what to do with our ACS. So I was just noticing that kind of comments, and I was like, oh, let me just run for ACS presidency. It's not like I've never done some sort of leadership position before. I've been in it every single year of my life, so since primary school, so let me just apply. And then I done a poster, spread it around, got people to like tell other people to vote, and then I got voted into the position by the grace of God when I was in end of first year. So I've done the position whilst I was in second year. So yeah, that's what motivated me, the leadership. But I think also my main desire in entering into ACS President was just in uniting the black community. Mm-hmm. I think one thing that I'm really big on is just giving more opportunities to the black community. And one thing that I noticed, especially about Essex ACS, I don't know about you, but a lot of people come from similar backgrounds, as in the same area. So for example, at Essex, a lot of people are from East London, so Dagenham, Romford. So a lot of them knew each other already, and I knew one or two people just from mutual connections. So I said, oh, since we already know each other, let's ensure that we actually come together and try and make something worthwhile. And it's not just about the clubbing and the entertainment part, but what can we create for ourselves that will last us a legacy, and what will allow us to even enter into those spaces even after university. Because I think one thing people might have a stereotype towards ACS, oh, people just think about the entertainment in that moment, but rather like, what can we establish for ourselves in the years to come, for future ACS presidents, for future people who will join ACS, what can be done to ensure they can carry on this mantle and be like, okay, let's make sure that we create more opportunities for them and more for the students. So that's what motivated me personally.
Cool. That's interesting. I know with my sort of tenure, it was a sort of tumultuous beginning for two reasons. One was the previous ACS president, although she was great, was just, here you go, you're ACS president now. No sort of like, how do you deal with the SU? How do you budget? Well, how to plan, etc., etc. And also, like, my vice president didn't get the grades to go on to the next year, so I was left without a vice president. How was that transition? Did you ran elections, or did you get help from the previous president? How was it sort of transitioning?
From what I remember, I don't think we got much support from the previous presidents, I won't lie to you. They were very much like, here you go.
Yeah.
I think obviously we done elections, so we were just like, okay, who wants to be in this position? I think I was running against two other men actually, so it was like, oh, you're the only girl here. You're probably, I think I was the only Ghanaian also on the panel. Everyone was Nigerian, obviously. Like,
there's many of us.
There's a lot of Nigerians in the uni, and so I was like, oh, I'm the only Ghanaian, I believe I was. Yeah, only Ghanaian on this, running for the position, and also the only girl. So I was like, okay, let's just start my presence here and just tell people, okay, this is the leadership I've done. And the previous people, they didn't really give us much support. They were just like, here you go, like, take it on if you must. Because one thing that you said, you had a bit of like a turbulent start to it, I can 100% agree. I think one thing that I've noticed about ACS and like their members is that they have very high demands. So it's like, okay, if you enter in this position, just know that they're going to demand a lot from you. Yeah. So you need to make sure that, okay, you're listening to them, but also you're not moving from your values at the end of the day. So that's one thing that we realized straight away. It was like, oh, these people really have demands for us. And if we don't make it happen, they're going to say something about it. But it's just making sure like you're on it, you're clear with what you want, but also you are trying to satisfy their needs, but not to the extent that you're losing your morals in a way. So that's one thing that I saw when I started out.
Cool. So how was your first term? How was the first few events? How was it dealing with the SU and getting members to come on board?
Okay, so I can talk from my position. I actually struggled quite a bit in my first term. I think, well, we'll talk about that as we go along, but in my first term, I was really excited. I was really ecstatic about what we could do for ACS. I think the first thing we had to do was decipher what we were going to do with the SU. So obviously, there's always going to be someone that we're going to communicate with the most. I don't know how your one was, but for our one, they were very quick with the emails. They were very communicative. They were very much like, oh, we're ready to give you things if you want to work with us.
Did you have a previous budget from last year?
Yes, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So we still had money by the grace of God, but so the first time we were just like, okay, here's our ideas, bam, 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 meetings, very big on meetings, very much like, let's stamp our mark here. And my first term, personally, as a president, was really good. I think I was just ready to get into the position. I knew what I could expect. I think I can say truthfully, I did struggle behind the scenes because there was a lot of things going on in my personal life. So I was a bit like, oh, this is a lot. And at first I was like, yeah, I'll be fine, whatever. We'll talk about that later. And then in the first term, I was like, yeah, whatever, I can just do this. I can just, balance everything else. And I was able to do so. So the first time was quite good. I think we were very big on events. So I think we had a meet and greet in the local club on Magdalene Street, Silk Road.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went there for the meet and greet, and it went really, really well. We were already collabing with the what's it called, the party organizer. So I don't know if AEMT was there when you were there.
Don't remember them now.
So we collabed with them. We collabed with also some food places straight away, just so that we can show yeah, we're here. We're really ready to work with people. So yeah.
Cool. And then what was your legacy there? What were some of the big events that you did?
So actually, before what did you go in before? When going in, were we like, okay, I want to see if I can make this happen by the end of the year?
Yeah, so I think for me personally, what I did say was that, I don't know if like you've heard of it, 10,000 Black interns. So they reached out to us. There was a whole thing. So they reached out to us. I don't think we emailed them in time to collab them. But then what I done was I emailed them personally and I apologized and I was like, let's still do something. And they actually did work with us. And by the grace of God, some people actually got internships. And then it was really glad, like, I was really happy to see people came back and like, we got an internship through this, we thank you, etc., etc. So it was really good for that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, the aspect of not answering emails is something that we've seen. Yeah. When we talked to a bunch of ACSs, it was one of those things where it's like, someone will be put in charge, but then that person doesn't check the emails, and no one like wants to be accountable for that. And even we heard from a lady. She had like her own organization, and she was speaking to a lot of the corporate people, and they were trying to get a hold of different ACSs. So she was sending out emails on behalf of those companies. She was like, hey, this company wants to like give you money or give you the sponsorship or whatever. But she was saying no one was answering. So it looked bad on like the ACS looked bad to her, and then the whole thing just messed up the whole chain. So it seems to be a regular thing, unfortunately. Yeah,
I think also in terms of the like communication, one thing that I really wanted. Obviously now I've given my life to Christ, so I'm very different to what I wanted then. But I wanted to like a big uni experience, like our whole ACS team, or a lot of us wanted us to like have like a uni. I think when you were there probably it was like Essex was the hot spot for like parties and like big clash and stuff like that. So we really wanted to bring that back. Yeah. I
had a friend who went to Essex. He said there's no Black people.
Oh, that's
and
right.
My sister wanted to go to Essex. She had to choose in Essex and like different unis. So like, I've heard that there's no Black people.
Really? There's a lot. Like they're very tight knit.
Impacted her like where she went to uni.
Really?
So,
a lot of people. There's a lot of Black people. Very much know like everyone knows each other.
Yeah, we had like 80 members. Yeah, we had like 80 members on our ACS. How many members did you have?
100 plus, definitely.
Yeah, so yours even grew.
Yeah. So it was like really big. So we really wanted like uni experience, bring back a big clash, make sure that the club is packed out, everyone's coming, enjoyment, like Black History Month, let's do some more events, etc., etc. Like that's what we wanted from the start. So I can definitely see what changed from now to then, but like that's what we just wanted to bring people together and just enjoy themselves essentially. So
Cool. So your expectations was that. So how did it transpire? What kind of events did you do?
So we done a lot of like debate nights. So like, we don't.
We need some stories. We need like what's something that someone said that shocked you, was something that you agreed with. Different topics that you guys came up with.
Oh, that's really interesting. What's going on? I think in that time we were just talking about what was going on in like Black Twitter or what was going on in the climate.
What is Black Twitter? Because I'm not a Twitter guy. I'm Instagram and YouTube. What is it actually a Twitter profile?
No, it's just like Black Twitter is just like Black people on Twitter, and like you can recognize the person's face. Like when you see a tweet, I'm just like, and I look at who tweet, I'm like, okay, I know this is from this person. Like, I've seen you before on my timeline. Like you get used to it, basically, familiar faces, what people will respond to, etc., etc. So so we were just talking about like topics on Black Twitter. Like I think one topic I can remember from the top of my head was about like Nigeria's like patriotism, like why they're so big on who they are and everything, and then like some people are just like, well, that's just how Nigerians are, we have a big egos, we're very happy to do this and that. And then one thing that I said, I was like, look, you should be proud of where you're from regardless. Don't use maybe if you're shy about where you're from in your country and then say, oh, Nigeria's doing too much. If they're proud to be where they're from, that's fine. But then people are like, yeah, but they do this and that, etc. It was just like a lot. And then it was
Nigerian in that room? Or?
Oh, there were a lot of Nigerians, as in majority Nigerian. So it was really funny. It was really funny. It was just different topics, like
brave person.
Yeah, it was just like very diverse in the topics, and like a lot of it maybe talked about like identities. I think some maybe even about education, scholarship, stuff like that. So the debate nights were really good. I think we also done a lot of like clubbing kind of stuff. So we worked with the party organizers, and we just wanted to see how we can bring more people into the parties and not just target black people, bring people all around the campus to come into the clubbing scenes and be able to, you know, enjoy themselves and everything. So I think that's what I can remember from the top of my head. I think we also done some games nights.
Okay.
So that was really good. I think we went to, I don't know if you remember LTB4, those kind of rooms.
The lecture theatre.
Yeah, so they're quite big rooms. So we were able to fill it out with maybe about 30, 40, 50 plus people each time.
Cool.
So it was a really good opportunity just to connect people with each other and just network in general.
Did you ever use the Lakeside Theatre building?
Yeah, so
Is Pascal still there? Pascal, he was the manager. He was a great guy. He was really accommodating. We did the comedy show there, so we did the ACS comedy show. We had Kojo, Richard Blackwood, Babatunde, and Quincy.
We only used not Tony Rich, Ivor Crew for Take Me Out.
Yeah.
So Take Me Out, the whole like, filled out like,
really?
Yeah.
It might be the most. It might be the event that everyone you know you're gonna like. You don't need to worry about. Attendance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
and now people do collab, like different universities do collabs.
Yeah, and they bring like TikTok influencers to host it. So our one, PK Humble came.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was
Did he do his dance?
Yeah, he did. He was picking up instruments, and yeah, he was enjoying himself.
Nice.
Yeah. Someone had I'm sure someone had Dr. Umar.
Oh wait, I have seen. I think it was Warwick.
I'm sure,
Yeah, Dr. Umar.
For the Take Me Out?
No, just like a discussion kind of thing.
See, I went to see him when he went to Goldsmiths recently.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting guy. What do you think of Dr. Umar?
He's very...
Black Queens forever.
Yeah, he's very proud of who he is, so that's good for him. Some things I can't get behind. Because it's a bit like, whoa, we're spewing a bit of hateful rhetoric. But you know, if you wanna say what you wanna say, then God be with you. Yeah.
Interesting guy for sure. Interesting guy.
Definitely. So you live in Essex, or you go to uni in Essex?
Yeah, so I went to uni in Essex, but I'm from North London, Hackney.
North London, Hackney. Okay, cool. So right now there's the whole fly the flags. So if you go into Essex now, you'll see loads of flags on lampposts and stuff like that. So people have mixed emotions about it. Kind of, I can see, having obviously, you know, been born and raised in England, there's a certain level of patriotism, there's a certain level of anti-immigration and stuff like that. But it's also can be used as like a far right, you know, sort of element. What do you feel about the Fly the Flags initiative, if you can call it that?
So I think with what they're doing, obviously there's nothing wrong with the flag in itself. Like it's a flag. Like we all have our flags of our home country. So, but I think it's what it initiates and what it's trying to represent. So unfortunately, if, for example, right now we saw the England flag somewhere, like painted somewhere, we're going to automatically think, okay, these people are stamping the authority in a manner that we want to drive out these kind of people and we don't want them here. Maybe in 2002, which is when I was born, if you saw someone with that, you'd be like, oh, they're just putting the flag up there. I don't really think we should think too much about it. But unfortunately, with how the political climate is right now, we know that people are doing it to show that, you know what, this is our country and no one can come in cause a ruckus here, and unfortunately this ruckus has been changed into like a very hateful rhetoric about, you know, immigrants, Muslims, black and brown people, just trying to say that, okay, you guys are not welcome here, unfortunately. And I think one thing that a lot of people have said about the UK, especially England, is that like we have very passive aggressive people here. So for example, if you go and ask them like, oh, why have you painted this? They're probably going to be like, because I'm English and I want to paint it and this is what I represent, and they'll just put it as that. But then if you try and talk to them and you try and dissect where this feeling is coming from, it always stems back to the immigrants, the black and brown people, lack of jobs. Then I asked you, okay, so what is your issue with the lack of job? I can't get a job. Why can't you get a job? I just can't get a job. And then it's always like a cycle. Okay, but where does it always stem from? It comes back to the people who don't look like you or don't follow the same values as you. And unfortunately, as someone who I can say I'm a follower of Christ and a devoted Christian, unfortunately, they can say they're Christians, but their morals, the way they carry themselves does not reflect Jesus Christ. And unfortunately, they use and mask their own hateful rhetoric under the disguise of this is how Christ wants me to be, but that is exactly the opposite how Christ wants you to be. He wants you to welcome people in. He wants you to show the fruits of the Holy Spirit to people, but instead you're just trying to drive out people.
Christian nationalism.
Yeah,
almost.
and it's just like you're not trying to bring people in or welcome in people in a loving way. You just want to show that you are here. This is your land, quote unquote, and no one can come and disrupt it. But unfortunately, you know, they're going above and beyond to just show that, you know, you're not welcome here. And it's quite sad, unfortunately. And I just hope that, you know, somebody in government can make a statement and be like, this is not what, you know, the UK is trying to represent, because we know that all of our parents here, or maybe one or two of us, like, have come to this country for a better future for us, and, you know, they know the opportunities here, and that's the issue. Like, where do you come and speak to them and be like, you know what, I'm just here to get a job like you, I'm just here to live a peaceful life, and then you've come and you've done this to me, so where do we draw the line here? Because now Black and brown people cannot live in fear in this country. Simple as that's impossible. Like, we live in in the UK, and unfortunately, that's how people are starting to feel. So I think the flags are just trying to represent some sort of hateful rhetoric, unfortunately. And, you know, when you speak with them at least 5 minutes, you can really tell what they're representing, unfortunately. But it's like this passive aggressiveness attitude. That
I'm
they're
not
trying to
racist.
hide
I've got
behind.
black friends.
Yeah, and it's just
this
like
guy that they play football with.
Yeah, and it's just like, why are we doing this? You know what I mean? So yeah.
What was your experience in Essex? Did you have any experiences with, you know, sort of conflicts with racism or anything like that?
Specifically racism? No, I think I've had a couple comments. Like, I remember in first year, I lived in like Meadows. I don't know if you know Meadows.
Was that? Is that a accommodation?
Yeah.
Oh, is it on campus?
Yeah.
It might be new. Is it like over near not Greens, you know, over the bridge?
Oh, just before the bridge.
Just before the bridge.
Yeah.
So they built new accommodation there. Okay.
So I lived in Meadows, and I lived with a couple people, very nice accommodation, and like we were just talking about like where we were from. Like, I was like, oh, I'm from Hackney, you know, I live in like a flat, because obviously I don't actually live in a house. Obviously I have an upstairs and garden, but if you see it, it's an estate. Like, and he was like, oh, like, that's where you live. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, I'm not Oliver Twist, like, calm down, like, what are we doing here? And it was just that kind of comment. I was just like, oh, I think some people can't expect people who come from these areas, these backgrounds, come to university in that way. So I'm just like, oh, like, this wasn't really a racist comment, but it was a classist comment. So I was just like, oh, this is really interesting. But I don't think that I've had any racist encounters. It was more like people cannot fathom, people can't fathom that I'm from Hackney in a way. So like, for example, the way I speak, they'll be like,
I would so well.
Yeah, I would never think that you're from Hackney. I would never think you're from there. Yeah, I'm always like, so you're so well, so I would think you're from Essex itself, or like the outskirts, or Midlands, a nice place in Midlands.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but I'm born and grown up in Hackney, like nothing's changed. It's just, I just carry myself like how I carry myself. Thank you, mum and dad, for raising me up well. But like, you know, it's just comments like that. It's a bit like, come on now, like, we're in 2025, like, we shouldn't be making those kind of comments, you know what I mean? Like, do you expect me to be throwing up gang signs or something? I always say that to people, like, do you expect me to be throwing up gang signs or something, or do you want me to be speaking in a certain like slang? And I'm like, no, like, I've grown up in these places.
You want to look like speak like you're a top boy or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when I tell people from Hackney, like, oh, like top boy, I'm like, I literally every area I've been to a million times, but literally it's just stuff like that. Just classist comments have been it's been quite an iffy thing at Essex. But it wasn't more like, I knew that they didn't mean it from like a hateful place. It was more
It's just
like
ignorance, isn't it?
ignorance in a way, yeah.
I get that.
So, so the ACSN, obviously, we want to be an umbrella organisation. We've actually got quite a few ACSs signed up to the organisation, and then we're going from strength to strength to create that umbrella organisation. But what do you think about, have you had a chance to look at our website and what we do and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I saw on the post a lot of like achievements from specifically black people, what's going on in the black community. So I really like that. I think sometimes we always say, oh, we want to see black excellence, but when there's black excellence displayed, no one's really talking about it as much as we should, in my opinion.
Doesn't get much traction.
No, it doesn't get much traction, unfortunately. And then when maybe a crime is committed to a black person, unfortunately, we're just like, oh no, this has happened. 2 weeks later, nothing's done about it. So I think it's really raising awareness of both sides. Okay, black excellence, what can we do to like put the spotlight on people who are raising up other fellow young black people to ensure they enter into sectors, and also the side of, okay, crime might be committed towards black people, or there's an issue going on in the community. Let's talk about it. Let's put steps in place instead of just making it mere words and putting it into action. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So how would an organisation like ACSN have helped yourself with your tenure as ACS President?
I think it would have helped a lot just putting spotlight to those who have immense talents and gifts. I think I met a lot of the black students there who were so gifted, but I don't think they had a window of opportunity. They didn't have any foundations.
No network.
Gifted in terms of like academic, but then they have really like nice hobbies or like
both.
skills.
Yeah, so I met a lot of people who were very gifted academically, but also extremely like big hobbies, like a lot of singers, a lot of people who loved politics in general, but I don't think they ever had like that avenue. And I think one thing that I noticed when I was at Essex, I don't know if you noticed too, is that like there's a big international community, especially from like Nigeria, Ghana, mostly West Africa, and you can see that they have those links back home. They really do, and that's amazing. But what about the black students who were born and bred here? Like, where are their platforms? Where are their foundations to enter into those kind of spaces in this country, if that makes sense? Because it's amazing that we see these people come and come to the country and they really stamp their authority. They get their first classes, they get their 2-1s, and then they do amazing, and they go back to their home countries. But we kind of neglect the people who are here, because I know it can be a lot harder here when people don't have the links. Like we all know, as we're getting older, links and networks is everything now, and we're just trying to, and I think with organization like this, having those links, having those networking will put them in those sectors now. I'm not saying just putting any other person there because they're black. I'm saying people who generally want to enter into these spaces, enter in there and showcase their gifts, giving them those opportunities. And I think that's one thing that they really want.
My people perish due to lack of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons, actually, particularly for me and for Mubini as well, like from the discussion that we've had, is the aspect of I'm not from like the UK. I've just lived here for some time, and I feel like I understand. It's a habit thing, right? Like the aspect of people communicating with each other, the aspect of people collaborating with each other, knowing that there's an opportunity, that someone who wants to. I think I'll be really happy if we know someone who was in the ACS, that was part of the ACSN, that became a sommelier or something, like some really niche thing that they didn't necessarily know they can have access to, but because maybe someone is in the industry, part of it, like the alumni club, all of a sudden they have this knowledge transfer of someone who's at university who wants to study like wine and like that whole universe, and then being able to like go into that thing. And even you just talked about like a bunch of Nigerians, a bunch of Ghanaians. We also want to build that habit of collaborating, right? Like a lot of things, what I say to some of the ACS that we're talking to at the moment, when we're meeting with them, is the habit of people of ACS not talking to each other or interacting with each other really reflects African countries and like the lack of it, right? Like I joke, you have certain like government officials in African countries only meeting with each other when it's Africa China summit or Africa France summit or Africa the USA something like. But then they're like neighbors sharing a border, or there's one country in between them. And I feel like it's the same thing as well with the ACSs, where you have that's what I had personally as when I was president. This aspect of other ACSs are nearby, we can do something, but there isn't, like, we went to approach some of them, but then that reciprocity wasn't there, and I think it's a shame, right? Because you could do so much more together, hence why the network was created, because you can, all of us together, we can do a lot more. So, like, I just agree with what you said, essentially.
Collaboration is so important, like, so important, and I know it can be hard sometimes, like, reaching out and then you're not getting a response, and I think, like, with what I said, like, with like those who come internationally to university, like Essex for example, getting them to come together, like the international students and those who were born and bred here coming together and just creating those links, getting those networking, because at the end of the day, I know so many people who were born and bred here but want to go back home, like they go back home, like someone like me, like I'm starting to go back home a lot more, as in I'm going like in 2 weeks, and then next year I'm planning to go 2 or 3 times. So that's kind of stuff that but I don't have any friends in Ghana, if that makes sense. But at university, if at my ACS, like we had more international students,
an alumni network.
Alumni network come in and speak to them, and then get those networking in. It could be a thing where I can get those links also back in Ghana and just speak, and then be like, oh, you're coming to the UK for like a holiday for 2 months. Here's an internship that's at my company or something, and be like, okay, maybe you should apply for it, maybe fast track you into an interview, because I think I was at church last week and someone came in to speak, and I believe they're from the Black Apprentice Network. Black Apprentice Network, and one of the girls who were on the panel, she's from my church, she said that she got fast-tracked for an interview because she went to a conference for women in tech, I believe. So literally stuff like that, like imagine there's black women and you get fast-tracked for an interview straight away like that, and it's only because you had that network from the international person that said, you know what, you should go to this place, I know a couple people who are running it, stuff like that. So it's like, okay, putting our 1 foot in the door, establishing your foundation, then 2 feet are in the door, if that makes sense. So how important collaboration can be for every ACS member internationally, who go back internationally, and then those who still reside here, so
Let's not sleep on Africa. It's got like the youngest population, you know, by 2030, I think it's going to be like almost 40% of the world's population of young people are going to be in Africa. It's got like 5 or 6 of the fastest growing economies. Like, Africa's the place where it's at. Africa's popping right now.
We want someone at the ACSs in the UK to be someone, you know, like someone who gets to be a president one day.
Amen.
We hope. It'll make things certainly a lot better.
Definitely.
But that's like the things that it's just so doable, and it's a shame that it's only taken until now for these things to get into place.
Literally. I think just to add to that, especially with said by President, like I'm someone who I want to get into. Well, obviously I'm finishing my masters like literally tomorrow, but like when I start like going into my job, or for example, I want to get into like politics, and I'm just like, okay, let's be honest, with the political climate right now, with the no links that I have in this country, it's going to be hard, but with my God will sustain me. But the thing is that also faith without works is dead. So I need to make sure, yes, I know my faith is there, I do what I need to do in my quiet time, my secret place, but like the works, I need to push myself. No matter what setback, I need to make sure I keep going, and that's why stuff like this is so important, that networking, being like, oh, okay, if I enter into a position of policy and I'm working for a borough like Southwark, and they want to put funding here, I'll be like, oh, the ACSs, and it's right here, like let's just put some money into them, like stuff like that. Put in that your the word of mouth is so important and can be so powerful. Like in scripture, it said that the tongue has the power to speak life, and that speak life into all these organizations. Be like, you know what, I think they need funding in this place. You're already in that position of political power. They will look at the organization, be like, you know what, this is really good. This can really bring the community together, and it just starts multiplying like that. And it's just stuff like that we just need to
Yeah.
fast track basically.
Well, if you're getting into politics, the previous trustee when I was running National African and Caribbean Student Society is Belavia Ribeiro Ade. She's now the MP of Clapham.
Oh.
So yeah, shoot me a message and then I'll try and put you in touch. I'm still in touch with her.
It's really happening, you know?
Yeah, I'm still in touch with her staff as well. So
there you go. No, that's great.
good stuff.
So getting out of your tenure as president, what are some of the things that you set in place to make sure that the work that you and your community did wouldn't fall?
So me personally, I had quite a hard time being president. Unfortunately, there were some personal things that were going on. Obviously, balancing studies, done well regardless, but it was only by the grace of God. And also took some time out actually when I was out president. I think I took like a month off just to make sure that everything was sorted and making sure that everything that was aligned with my morals was up to standard and everything. So there were some things going on, and I've taken accountability for that by the grace of God. So I've been like, you know what, this kind of stuff wasn't the right thing, or this time this wasn't the right decision. Let me step back and make sure I do. And I had people that held me accountable. Unfortunately, there were times where like some people did do some things that weren't the best, but I think communication was really good to the point where it was like, okay, there's some issues going on, but we were able to sort it out eventually. Might have not been the most amazing thing at that present time, but we were able to do what we had to do. But in terms of leaving what we had built, especially I think the 10,000 Black interns was the biggest thing in my opinion. I think like a couple months even after I left, people still thought I was president. They were asking me like, okay, when is the 10,000 Black interns started? I was like, oh, I am not president anymore. Like honestly, but the thing is that I was kind of glad because it wasn't like boasting kind of moment. It was more like we've established something at this university. People are aware of this opportunity. And like there were people that came back to me like, thank you so much for advertising, because one person he got the internship through it, and I think he also got an award through the 10,000 Black interns because of it. And it was so amazing because it was like, and he's a close friend of mine, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what we need to do. Just one opportunity can change someone's life. And now he's working full time. I'm not sure if he's at that same company, but he was able to make
got his foot in the door.
And he's someone that really deserved it, and that's one thing that I was happy about. Like even though there might have not been some people that would have been happy with some decisions I made. There have been some people that I wasn't happy with the decisions they made. You know what I mean? There were some actions that I wasn't happy about towards me, but you know what? I've done something for somebody. I've done something for a group of people, and they can say that, you know what, through this opportunity, my whole life was able to change in this trajectory. And that's all I wanted, like people to have their foot into the door. And even though, like, for example, I didn't get even an internship with them and I applied that year, but he was able to, and I was like, heck, I'm happy regardless. Like, and also through my time there, I think also we were just able to have more links with the community as well. So for example, we got a collaboration with a sanitary pad company, and it was like biodegradable, I believe. So it was like sustainable and it was amazing. Like so many girls were saying it's amazing. And we also got a collaboration with like a wig company, so they gave us headbands, still have the headbands to this day. Thank you to them. But like stuff like that, like now that we've got those collaborations with the companies, they know what ACS Essex is, you know what I mean? And okay, so we've got another collaboration, but let's go back to ACS Essex. They were able to reply to our emails, they were able to give out our products and everything, so stuff like that. So I definitely know it made it a lot easier for them to work with companies, the 10,000 Black interns especially, and also I was able to see like what people actually want in their lives. Like I think we were able to establish like, okay, ACS Essex can be a society where I can go in, say what I want in my future, and some things can be linked. It might not be completely done, as in maybe you want to get into engineering and there's not an engineering company we're working with, but at least like you can say it, and then ideas are going to start popping up. What can we do? How can we start working with these people? So I think a foundation was built regardless, and we thank the Lord for that.
I think that's great. I think I don't know if it was systemized, but the whole aspect of having a member come in and be like, hey, whether it's, okay, I'm first year, this is what I want to achieve by the end of the time I leave university, and then just say it, or maybe it might be career related, but I think the idea of having people come in saying what, maybe that should be brought into like every ACS, or just like, it's a good way for the member to hold themselves accountable.
Yeah.
It's a good way for as well for the society to figure out how they can help, and maybe there'll be more, you know, if naturally the groups of people who want to do similar things or go into similar industries or whatnot, then you can help all those bunch of people to do or to get where they want to get to. So yeah, man, that's good. That's good. Definitely bringing value outside of partying, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. I think towards the end, that's when I was really getting closer with Christ. I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me as
There's still Jesus for Life Fellowship in there? Chaff? No?
They're coming back though.
Oh,
they're coming back, guys. Like they actually are. Remember, I was part of Pensar, so I just finished my time at Pensar.
Cool.
I don't know if you know about
No,
Pensar.
there was Jaff when I was there.
Oh yeah, but so I think at the start I was like, okay, clubbing, let's do this, let's do that, because obviously was quite lukewarm with a lot of things, but
Of the
towards
world.
I was on the do not conform to the ways of the world, it says in scripture, but I did. And then towards the end I was a lot more I was getting closer with Christ and everything. I think when I left, I think I understood, okay, I still left some sort of values that I'm still proud of though. I'm still can say, you know, thank you God for allowing me to do so, because even though I was lukewarm at certain particular, like most of the majority of my time there, I still done things that I can look back and be like, you know, this is pleasing to Jesus. Like this is something that people can go to and still and reap some sort of rewards from it, and you know they can sow into it and they can be like, you know what, let me just apply and see, and then they can get it. And I'm like, you know what, I done something that I can smile about, even though, you know, I look back and I'm not like the happiest that maybe I promoted like clubbing and doing this and that. I know that regardless, you know, there's no condemnation in Christ, so you just move on from that, but also at least I done something that was worthwhile. And you know, to some people maybe watching this would be like, oh, why, nothing's wrong with clubbing, that's absolutely fine with that. But due to my stance and what my intimacy with Christ, and you know what it says in scripture, it's not something that I can, you know, endorse. At that time I did, but now I don't. And you know, at that time I enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. I enjoyed, you know, promoting it, but you know, now I don't. But regardless, there were still things there from even the clubbing that like was still little seeds that can grow into something that can be beneficial to all. Those who don't club and those who do are still in the world, still may not know Jesus Christ. So I can still say something was done. So yeah.
I think the good thing you got tangible like results from it.
Yeah.
Like, the guy who got the whole award, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. That was, I was gonna say something, I just forgot. Just blanked out. But yeah, I don't know if you wanna say something else.
Cool. So what does the future entail? What's the goals, and how can the ACSN help?
So is this in terms of ACS or just in general?
In general, in your life, in your career, future career goals.
So with me, obviously I mentioned before again, like I'm finishing literally my master's tomorrow, so I'm gonna, you know, go on holiday quickly to Ghana, then come back, but then I'm going to be looking to start a job in maybe policy or parliamentary assistant to maybe an MP. That's really something I really want to get into.
You want to be an MP?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure, but I think I do, honestly. I think right now it's just, I just want to get my foot into politics, that kind of field. I did study international law for my master's, so I do have an understanding of like human rights and diplomacy. The end goal is to become a diplomat and, you know, work in advisory roles. So, for example, going around the world and like advising countries on how to like fix the poverty in the country or the famine or sexual abuse in this country, stuff like that. That's what I want to really focus on. So right now, just trying to apply for jobs, putting my foot in, by God's grace, soon getting a full-time job. But firstly, rest. Obviously, masters throughout the summer was not the easiest. And I think with me also, I have a page where on my Instagram, it's called The Blazing Christ, where I teach and I talk about like the things of the kingdom of God. So I just talk about matters about Jesus. how people can carry themselves, how women can carry themselves. So right now I'm thinking of growing that, how I can continue to expand it, help other people, how to collaborate. Also, maybe one day writing a book. I want to write a book in the next year or two about it, but I need to also pray for like connections and funding and stuff. So that's my main thing right now, and above all, intimacy with God. Pleasing God, giving Him all the glory. So yeah, that's me right now.
Definitely. And what would be your one main bit of advice for an oncoming ACS president?
I have a question as well. That's sort of a follow-up to that. It's like what are the qualities that you would, you came in as president, what are the qualities that you're looking for the committee members? What are the positive traits that you would look for as a president?
To start with your question, I think firstly enthusiasm above all.
Okay.
Like you need to be enthusiastic to do things. There might be some things that you didn't agree with at first, but everyone else did and they can see it's beneficial, but you'd be like, but you need to be enthusiastic, but at the end of the day you can't be like so gloomy about every little thing. I think communication is so important. Like you need to be able to be good with communication, because at the end of the day, one thing that I learned was being like head girl in year 11 was so different to being president at university. Different kinds of people, different environments. Everyone's 18 to about 25. That's a really huge age group, but also they're all adults, so you can't be like talking to people anyhow. People will be like, no, you can't speak to me like that, everything. So it's not like you're working with children, basically. You're working with your peers. So you need to be able to communicate. You need to understand also empathy. I think really important in this position. I think people kind of ignore it because it's like, oh, I'm just president or I'm just secretary, whatever. I don't really need what about empathy? But that doesn't just fall to the welfare officer. With empathy, you need it everyday basis. And with ACS, for example, you're going to meet some people that, unfortunately, people will be like, oh, you're black and you do this, or you're black and you look like this, or you're African and you did this. Or for example, I think we had a debate about I can't even remember what it was, but you can clearly see that some of the black people in there didn't come from London, weren't surrounded by black people their whole life. Then there were the black people who have been around black people their whole life, and you can see, different hobbies, different styles of dressing, different mindsets. But you can't come and be like, you're weird because I didn't grow up in the same way as that's terrible. You need to have empathy for all. Some people might approach situations very differently. Some people might react to situations very differently also, so that's really important.
It goes back to what you were saying about the person that said, you speak well. There's often a stereotype of a homogenous, this is what a black person is. And you might be into, I don't know, hockey, or you might be a swimmer, and just because you do that, there's often a perception of black people that your blackness is now relegated to a lesser standpoint, which is ridiculous.
And I think also ACS is African Caribbean. It's not just black. It's not a black kind of. Everyone knows it's a black kind of society, but for example, Africans, you're going to meet Moroccans, you're going to meet Algerians. You're going to meet people who don't look unambiguously black, and it's not a thing where you're like, oh, because you may be African but you're not black, so you can't be in this. No. We want people to come there. We want people who are mixtures to enter in and feel safe and feel comfortable there, and not feel pushed out. We want to meet people who only are quarter black even to come in and feel comfortable also. We want people who are Moroccan, from North Africa, all around there, to also come in and be like, I want to enter ACS because I will feel welcomed in. And I think that's really important to link with the empathy part. And I think with being ACS presidency, I think not losing your morals is the biggest thing above all. For example, if you are a Christian and you generally have prayed and you feel led to be an ACS president, don't move from your standards, don't move from your morals, because at the end of the day, you're not doing this to please man. You'll be I'm not saying every ACS president is going to be a Christian, but your morals are so important and your values are so important. Do not move from them, because at the end of the day, you want to leave a legacy, but you don't want to leave a legacy that's built on false foundations. Does that make sense? You don't want to be oh, but I wish I'd done this because I know this was this was my idea, but I wanted to do it because it would have pleased this person or this person. Like, no, above all, you want to be able to make sure that most people are happy, people are enjoying themselves, but like you can be like, I'm happy with what I produce. And I think also with ACS presidency, I think being able to know when to step back is really important. If you are going through something, if personal life might not be the best, speak to somebody, speak to even that welfare officer that's in your group, or speak to the SU, for example. Speak to somebody that you trust, because I know leadership can become so tiring, like so tiring. If you're going through something, it might portray your character, some of the things that you may say might not be the best, and it might and for example, that's something that happened to me. Like, I was so like down, like so much was going on that it was reflecting in my character and the way I was speaking. I was like, and I look back, I'm like, wow, like this was really bad. Like this did not represent who I am, but I didn't know when to say I'm going to step back. And when I did step back and I came back, I felt so much better, because like that's how you need that communication, you need that empathy. And also I think like trying to get everything out of it, like make those networking opportunities, meet new people, like it's not just the African and Caribbeans you're going to be working with. Work with the wider SU, for example. Like talk to people. I met so many people outside of ACS that was it was so interesting. It was so nice to meet non-African and Caribbeans that like maybe shared similar values to me, or like shared similar ideas to me, and I was able to meet them through ACS. So stuff like that. And you can make so many opportunities for yourself through it, no matter what position you're in. It doesn't matter if you're president, down to the sports officer, welfare secretary. Like make the most out of your position, and also know that like a position doesn't define you. Like at the end of the day, you're all in a team. So if, for example, a secretary may be struggling with something and you're a welfare officer and you know how to do something, you can step in and help them. You're in a team for a reason. Don't think that position is boxing you in. Allow your gifts and your abilities to show through that position and help people when it's needed. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay.
Cool. Well, I think that's a really great conversation.
Anything you want to plug? I told you talked about your Instagram.
I have a Christian page and blog. It's called Ablaze in Christ. If you'd like to follow it and support it, it'd be amazing. All for the glory of God. So yeah.
See, the lights came on. Let there be light.
All for the glory of God. So yeah, I just speak about the things of the kingdom of God and Jesus Christ, and how amazing it is to follow Christ there. So if you want to follow and just get to know more about the Lord, then you can.
Nice.
Any closing statements that you want to say?
Thank you for having me here. I thank the Lord for allowing me to be here. I pray that everyone here will flourish in their sectors and their careers.
Amen.
And ACS presidency did give me a lot of opportunities and networking opportunities, and it's blessed me in many different ways. And for those who will enter into the position of presidency, please take everything you can out of it. It's a blessing, no matter what you follow at this current moment, what your morals or your values are. Please remember, above all, it's the opportunity to bring people together and bring a community together, and that is what you should be doing. That's the main objective through it. Now, it may look different for every ACS around the globe, around the country, but please just remember it's about community and making people feel welcomed and feeling loved and being able to come and express themselves freely. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I also want to add to the members, right, to the community. You join the ACSs.
Yeah. Please.
Both parties feed off each other. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, and you're about to get into uni, or you're already in uni, and you haven't joined the ACS, then you should strongly do so, because, as you already mentioned, there's a ton of value that comes out of it, and a lot of opportunity. And people need to learn how to make use of like the opportunity that is around them. I think people need to teach that. I think ACSs could actually teach, hey, you could go here, or this is who you can speak to, or this is how it was done before. Maybe you want to do the same thing as how it was done before. You want to, do something new. But yeah, don't do this. Go to your lectures and then go to your room.
Yeah.
That should not be. That's not why. Part of it is going to uni is obviously your studies, but the other part of it is also meeting as many people as you can. You're never gonna meet as many people at university as you will like outside university. That's like the one thing I've learned. It's a big pool of so many people from so many different places. You're not, the likelihood, unless you change careers every 2 years or whatnot, you're really not gonna see all that many people, you know, in such a in a lifetime, essentially. So yeah, make use of it. Yeah.
Cool. Should we take a picture and then we'll wrap?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching and listening, and we will see you next episode.
Cool.
That was great.